What if the family you'd sacrificed everything for, 10 years of late nights, canceled dreams, and hard-earned cash, secretly planned to leave you behind, babysitting their kids while they partied in the snowy mountains? That's what Lauren Mitchell discovered one chilly Chicago night, staring at an email that shattered her world. VIP tickets booked. Thanks for paying, but you're not invited. Betrayal burned hotter than the coffee she spilled, and what she did next might make you cheer, cry, or curse her name. Hit subscribe and help us reach our first 1,000 supporters. Because this story's just the beginning. What if the family you'd sacrificed everything for, 10 years of late nights, canceled dreams, and hard-earned cash, secretly planned to leave you behind, babysitting their kids while they partied in the snowy mountains? That's what Lauren Mitchell discovered one chilly Chicago night, staring at an email that shattered her world. VIP tickets booked. Thanks for paying, but you're not invited. Betrayal burned hotter than the coffee she spilled. And what she did next might make you cheer, cry, or curse her name. Hit subscribe and help us reach our first 1,000 supporters, because this story's just the beginning. My name's Lauren Mitchell, and at 32, I've carved out a life most people would envy. I'm a manager at Harper & Stone, a top-tier law firm in Chicago, where the view from my corner office stretches across the glittering skyline. 10 years ago, while my younger sisters, Chloe and Megan, were busy tying the knot and popping out kids, I was grinding through law school on a scholarship, determined not to burden mom and dad with tuition bills. Now, Chloe's 26 with a 4-year-old daughter, Lily, and Megan's 28 with a 3-year-old son, Ethan. Me? I've got no husband, no kids, just a sleek apartment, a packed schedule, and a bank account I've fought tooth and nail to build. I don't regret it, not really. The late nights poring over case files, the weekends spent in the office instead of at bars with friends. It's all paid off. But sometimes, when the city lights flicker outside my window and the silence of my empty home sinks in, I wonder, did I miss something? A family of my own, maybe? Or those chaotic holiday mornings Chloe and Megan gush about on our group chat? I shake it off. Usually with a glass of wine and a good book. I've always been the practical one, the rock my family leans on. That's who I am, or who I thought I was. It was a Tuesday morning, the kind where the wind off Lake Michigan cuts through your coat like a knife. I was knee-deep in a stack of depositions, my third coffee of the day cooling on the desk, when my phone buzzed. Chloe's name flashed across the screen. My youngest sister's voice is like a chirpy bird, all sunshine, even when she's up to something. "Hey, Lauren, got a sec?" she chirped. I wedged the phone against my shoulder, still flipping pages. "Sure, what's up?" "You know Mom's turning 60 in 2 months, right?" she said, pausing just long enough to make me feel like I should have remembered first. "We're planning something special and we need everyone to chip in." I leaned back, curious now. "Okay, how much are we talking?" When she named the figure, $2,000, I nearly choked. That was more than my last weekend getaway to New York, which, come to think of it, was 3 years ago. "I know it's a lot," Chloe rushed on, "but it's for Mom. You in?" I sighed, already pulling up my banking app. "Yeah, it's fine. I'll send it now." My fingers hesitated over the transfer button. $2,000 was a chunk of my savings, but this was Mom. Diane Mitchell, the woman who'd patched my skinned knees and cheered at every debate team win. I hit send. "Great," Chloe squealed. "Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you take a week off work around her birthday. Don't plan anything else, okay?" Her tone shifted there, just a hair, like she was hiding a grin I couldn't see. "Why a whole week?" I asked, frowning at the papers I'd just shoved aside. "You'll see," she said, all mysterious. "It's a surprise." Before I could press her, she hung up, leaving me staring at my phone. A surprise? For Mom's 60th? That made sense. Maybe a big party or a spa day. I shrugged and dove back into work. The next few weeks were a blur of deadlines and court prep. I'd occasionally wonder what Chloe and Megan were cooking up with all that money, but whenever I asked, they dodged me like pros. "Oh, it's still in the works," Megan said once, her voice tight over the phone. "Don't worry about it." Chloe was worse. She'd just laugh and change the subject. One night, though, I got a call from Lily, Chloe's 4-year-old. Her little voice crackled through my speaker. "Cole, Lauren, Mommy said don't tell you, it's a big secret." I chuckled, picturing her round face scrunched up in seriousness. "A secret, huh? What kind?" I teased. She giggled, then whispered, "A fun one," before the call cut off, probably Chloe snatching the phone away. I smiled to myself, imagining Lily spilling the beans about some silly gift. Kids, right? I didn't think much of it. Not yet. But then came the email. It was late, past 10 p.m., and I was sprawled on my couch with a glass of Pinot Noir, half watching a true crime doc on Netflix. My phone pinged, a confirmation from Pine Travel Co. "Dear Miss Mitchell," it read, "thank you for booking VIP tickets to Mountain Pine Resort, Colorado. Your payment of $2,000 has been processed." I sat up so fast the wine sloshed onto my sweatshirt. Mountain Pine Resort, VIP tickets. I hadn't booked anything. My heart thudded as I scrolled down. The dates matched Mom's birthday, week 7 days at a luxury ski lodge. The guest list was there too. Mom, Dad, Chloe, Megan, Brian, Kelly, and all the kids. Everyone except me. I stared at the screen, the words blurring as my mind raced. I'd paid for this? When? How? Then it hit me. The $2,000 I'd sent Chloe. They'd used it to book a family trip, and I wasn't even on the damn list. The room felt colder than the Chicago wind outside. My fingers trembled as I opened our family group chat, ready to type something. Anything. But I stopped. What was I supposed to say? "Hey, why'd you spend my money on a vacation I'm not invited to?" It sounded ridiculous, even in my head. Instead, I set the phone down, the screen glowing accusingly in the dark. Something was wrong. Really wrong. And I had a sinking feeling the Saturday dinner at my parents' house in the Chicago suburbs was supposed to be routine. Dad's bad jokes, Mom fussing over plates, the kids running wild. I'd been dreading it all week, ever since that email from Pine Travel Co. burned a hole in my brain. My $2,000 spent on a family ski trip to Mountain Pine Resort with no spot for me. I hadn't confronted Chloe or Megan yet. Part of me hoped it was a mistake, a glitch in the system. But as I pulled into the driveway, the knot in my stomach tightened. The glowing windows of the old brick house looked warm, inviting, like nothing had changed. Except everything inside, the chaos hit me like a wave. Lily, Chloe's 4-year-old, barreled into my legs, yelling, "Lauren!" Ethan, Megan's 3-year-old, was smearing mashed potatoes on the tablecloth, while Brian's twins, Jack and Sophie, chased each other with forks. Noah, Kelly's 6-year-old, sat quietly in the corner picking at his green beans. "Mom!" Diane bustled out of the kitchen with a tray of roast chicken, her graying hair pinned back, her smile as bright as ever. "Lauren, honey, grab a plate," she called. "Dad?" Robert winked at me from the head of the table. "Heard you're still winning cases, kiddo. Making us proud." For a moment, I almost forgot the email. Almost. I slid into my usual seat next to Chloe, who was scrolling her phone, and across from Megan, who was cutting Ethan's food. Brian and Kelly chatted about work, their voices blending into the familiar hum of family. Then Chloe set her phone down, pushed her blonde bangs back, and dropped the bomb. "So," she said, her tone too casual, "we've got everything set for Mom's 60th. We're all heading to Mountain Pine Resort for a week." The table erupted. Mom clapped her hands, beaming. "A ski trip. Oh, you kids." Dad grinned, already planning his runs. "Been years since I hit the slopes." Megan squealed about the hot tubs, while Brian and Kelly debated which trails the twins could handle. I sat there, fork frozen midair, the mashed potatoes on my plate turning to glue in my mouth. "Wait," I said, loud enough to cut through the chatter. "Mountain Pine Resort? When did this happen?" The room went quiet, too quiet. Mom cleared her throat, her smile faltering. Chloe and Megan exchanged a glance, the kind they'd perfected as teenagers when they'd broken something and blamed me. Why didn't anyone tell me earlier?" I pressed, my voice sharper than I meant. "I don't even have a ski suit, and it's 2 weeks away?" Dad shifted in his seat, suddenly engrossed in his napkin. Mom took a deep breath, her hands smoothing the tablecloth, a nervous habit. "Well, honey," she said, her voice dipping into that soft, coaxing tone she used when she wanted something big. "We were hoping you could do us a huge favor. We'd love for you to watch the kids while we're there." I blinked, counting them off in my head. Ethan, Lily, Jack, Sophie, Noah. 5 kids under 7 for a whole week. "You want me to stay home and babysit?" I said, slow, like I was testing the words. "While you all go skiing?" No one laughed. No one said it was a joke. The silence stretched, broken only by Ethan banging his spoon. "You're so good with them," Mom said, as if that sealed it. "They adore their Aunt Lauren." Megan nodded, wiping Ethan's hands. "Yeah, come on, Lauren. You know how crazy it'd be with all 5 of them up there. You'd be doing us a solid." Chloe leaned in, her blue eyes wide. "It's not like you need a break from family life, you know? We're the ones who need this. Me and Megan with the kids and the husbands. You get it, right?" Your words hit like a slap, hot and stinging. "What's that supposed to mean?" I snapped, my fork clattering onto the plate. Chloe shrugged, unfazed. "Just that you don't have kids or a husband to escape from. It's different for you." Megan smirked. "You'd probably be bored anyway. Ski lodges are loud, crowded, not your scene." I looked around the table, searching for a crack in their united front. Brian avoided my gaze, Kelly busied herself with Noah's plate, and Dad just stared at his beer. Mom reached for my hand, but I pulled back. "This isn't fair," I heard myself say, my voice trembling. "I want to celebrate Mom's birthday too. I paid for this trip. $2,000, Chloe. My money." The air thickened. Chloe's smile vanished. "You bringing that up now?" she hissed. "We all chipped in. It's a group thing." Megan rolled her eyes. "Don't make it about money, Lauren. That's petty." Petty? My chest burned, the betrayal from that email roaring back. They weren't even denying it. They'd planned this, used me, and now they were gaslighting me into thinking I was the bad guy. I pushed my chair back, the screech echoing in the dining room. "Ashley," Mom started, her voice tinged with worry, but not enough to stop me. I grabbed my coat from the rack, my hand shaking so hard I could barely zip it up. "Don't worry," I heard Mom say as I reached the door. "She'll come around. She always does." The cold night air hit my face as I stormed to my car, their voices fading into a dull buzz. Ski slopes, hot cocoa, all the fun I wasn't part of. I slid into the driver's seat, slammed the door, and opened my phone. There it was, buried in my inbox, a forwarded email from Chloe to Megan, sent by mistake. "Lauren doesn't need to know the details," it read. "She'll pay, and we'll figure out the kids later." My breath caught, a sob clawing at my throat. 10 years of being the reliable one. Cooking dinners at 16 so Mom could help Megan with homework. Skipping spring break at 18 to watch Chloe. Working 2 jobs in college to buy them prom dresses. And this was my reward. They'd taken my money, my time, my trust, and turned me into the family babysitter without a second thought. I gripped the steering wheel. The Chicago skyline a blurry smear through my tears. What the hell was I going to do? The drive back to my Chicago apartment from Mom and Dad's felt like a descent into a fog I couldn't shake. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white, as Chloe's email looped in my head. "Lauren doesn't need to know the details. She'll pay." The sting of it, of being reduced to a checkbook and a babysitter, burned hotter with every mile. I'd stormed out of that dinner, but now, what? Confront them? Pretend it never happened? I didn't sleep that night, pacing my hardwood floors, the city lights outside mocking my unraveling world. By Sunday morning, I'd decided to try fixing it. My default mode for a decade. I called Mom, keeping my voice steady despite the lump in my throat. "I've been thinking about the resort trip," I said. "I'll pay for a professional nanny, someone with great references. That way we can all enjoy Mom's birthday together." Silence stretched on the other end, longer than it should have. "That won't work, Lauren," Mom finally said, her tone clipped. We can't trust a stranger with the kids. They need you. Mom, I want to be part of this too, I pushed, my voice cracking. It's your 60th. I don't want to miss it. She sighed, sharp and impatient. You're not exactly a social butterfly, honey. You'd be miserable with all the noise and chaos up there. The kids will keep you busy. You love spending time with them. It's perfect. Before I could argue, she hung up, the dial tone buzzing in my ear like a slap. I stared at my phone, her words sinking in. Not a social butterfly, perfect. They weren't even pretending to care what I wanted. Then it buzzed again. Chloe this time, her text popping up like a venomous jab. Mom told me about your nanny idea. Don't you dare ruin this for us. Everything's set. Ruin it? I tossed the phone onto the couch, my hands shaking. They'd planned this all along. My money, my vacation days, my exclusion, and now they were doubling down. That night, I got a FaceTime call from Lily, Chloe's 4-year-old. Her big eyes were red, tears streaking her chubby cheeks. Lauren, she hiccuped. Mommy said I can't go to the snow place because I broke her glass. I don't want to stay home alone. My heart twisted. Sweetie, you won't be alone, I soothed. I'll figure something out, okay? She nodded, sniffling, before the screen went black. 2 hours later, Chloe texted, Stop meddling with my kid. Lily's fine. She's just dramatic. Dramatic? A 4-year-old crying about being left behind wasn't dramatic. It was heartbreaking. I wanted to call back, demand answers, but my phone buzzed again before I could. An unknown number this time with a shaky voice message. Lauren, it's Noah. Help me, please. My stomach dropped. Noah, Kelly's 6-year-old. I hit play again, his voice trembling through static. Mom locked me in a room. She said wait till they go to the snow. I'm scared. A video followed, grainy, shot from a cheap motel room. Noah's pale face filled the screen, his dark hair plastered with sweat. She left me here, he whispered, panning to a locked door, a single bulb flickering overhead. I don't know when she's coming back. The timestamp said 8:47 a.m., 10 minutes ago. I grabbed my keys, my coat, and bolted out the door, the Chicago wind howling as I sped toward the address he'd texted. A rundown motel off I-94, 20 minutes away. The motel smelled of mildew and regret, its neon sign buzzing faintly in the gray morning light. Room 12, his room, was at the end of a cracked concrete walkway. I pounded on the door, my breath fogging in the cold. Noah? It's me, a muffled sob answered, then a small hand banged back. Lauren, he cried. The lock was flimsy. I jammed my shoulder against it, wood splintering as it gave way. Noah flung himself into my arms, his thin frame trembling, his Spider-Man pajamas soaked with sweat. She said I'd ruin the trip, he mumbled into my chest. Said I'd stay here till they're gone. I held him tight, rage and heartbreak warring inside me. Kelly, his own mother, had ditched him in this dump to clear her slate for the resort. I dialed her number, my voice shaking as I rocked Noah. What the hell, Kelly? You lock Noah in a motel room? She laughed. A brittle, careless sound. Oh, relax, Lauren, he's fine. Thought you could watch him a few days. Get some practice for next week. Practice? I shouted. You abandoned your kid. I'm calling the cops. She snorted. Go ahead. You're the family fixer, aren't you? Always swooping in to save the day. The line went dead. Noah clung to me, his breathing uneven. Don't tell Mommy, he whispered. She'll be mad. I smoothed his hair, my mind racing. Cops? CPS? Or just take him home and deal with it myself? I drove him back to my apartment, his small hand gripping mine the whole way. He sat on my couch, clutching a glass of water I'd given him, his eyes darting like he expected Kelly to burst in. I called Brian next. Maybe he'd have some sense. Hey, Lauren, he said, casual as ever. No acting up again. Just keep him till we're back from the trip. You're good at this stuff. Good at this stuff? I hung up, slamming the phone down so hard the case cracked. 10 years of being their rock, and now this? Lily crying, Noah abandoned, and a family that didn't even blink at using me. I looked at Noah, his quiet trust cutting deeper than their betrayal. What kind of people locked a kid away for a vacation? And what kind of aunt was I if I let this slide? I didn't know yet, but one thing was clear. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Noah slept on my couch that night, his small chest rising and falling under a blanket I'd tucked around him. His Spider-Man pajamas were still damp with sweat, a reminder of the motel hellhole I'd pulled him from. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. Kelly's laugh echoed in my skull. Her casual, "You're the family fixer," slicing deeper than Mom's dismissal or Chloe's threats. 10 years of playing the reliable sister, the perfect daughter, and now I was cradling a 6-year-old they'd tossed aside like trash. By morning, I'd made up my mind. I was done. I opened my laptop, hands trembling as I booked a flight to Miami. First class, because why the hell not? I'd earned it. The Mountain Pine Resort trip started in 3 days, and they could figure out their own mess. I called Jane, my colleague at Harper & Stone, a no-nonsense paralegal who'd always had my back. "Can you watch Noah for a week?" I asked, voice low so he wouldn't wake. His mom ditched him, and I need to get out of here. Jane didn't hesitate. "Bring him over. And Lauren, good for you." I packed a suitcase, bikinis, sundresses, a new paperback, stuff I hadn't touched in years. Before leaving, I recorded a video on my phone, staring into the lens with a calm I didn't feel. "Hey, family," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "For 10 years, I've sacrificed everything. Late nights, canceled plans, my own damn money to hold us together. You took my $2,000, planned a trip without me, and expected me to babysit while you sip hot cocoa in Colorado. I'm done being your doormat. I'm out." I uploaded it to the group chat, hit send, and drove Noah to Jane's. He clung to me at her doorstep, his brown eyes wide. "You're coming back, right, Lauren?" I knelt, brushing his hair back. "I'll always be here for you, kiddo. Just need a break." Jane took his hand, nodding at me. "Go. I've got this." I left, the weight lifting off my chest with every mile to O'Hare Airport. Miami was a revelation. The humid air wrapped around me like a hug as I stepped off the plane. Palm trees swaying against a sky so blue it hurt. My hotel room overlooked the ocean, waves crashing below my balcony in a rhythm that drowned out the chaos I'd left behind. That first day, I walked barefoot on South Beach, sand squeezing between my toes, the sun baking away a decade of guilt. I swam in the hotel pool, read by the shore, ate shrimp tacos at a seaside joint. No tantrums to soothe, no diapers to change. For once, it was just me. But freedom came with a catch. On the third night, as I sipped a margarita on my balcony, my phone rang. "Jane." "Lauren," she said, her voice tight. "Noah's sick. High fever, 103. I took him to the ER. He's stable now, but your family's losing it. They're blaming you." My glass slipped, shattering on the tile. "What? I left him with you. He was fine." Jane sighed. "Kelly showed up here screaming that you kidnapped him, then bailed when he got worse. Chloe called me, said it's your fault for abandoning them. They're a mess." I sank into a chair, the ocean breeze turning cold against my skin. "Should I come back?" I whispered, tears stinging my eyes. Jane's voice hardened. "No. You didn't cause this. They did. I've got Noah. He's sleeping now. Stay there. You deserve this." I nodded, though she couldn't see, and hung up, sobbing into my hands. Noah's fever, Kelly's lies. It was too much. I'd run, but the guilt chased me across state lines. 4 days later, I landed back in Chicago, the gray skyline a stark contrast to Miami's glow. I had barely unpacked when my front door rattled. Someone was using the emergency key I'd given Mom years ago. They burst in like a tornado. Mom red-faced, Chloe dragging Noah behind her, Megan clutching a wooden box I recognized instantly. Grandma's keepsake carved with her initials. "You selfish bitch!" Chloe screamed, shoving Noah forward. "Look at him, he almost died because of you." Noah, pale but upright, stumbled toward me. "I'm okay, Lauren," he mumbled, but Chloe yanked him back. "Don't talk to her," Mom stepped up, her voice shaking with rage. "You ruined my birthday, Lauren. We couldn't enjoy a damn thing. Everyone worried about Noah, about you. You're no daughter of mine. Megan smirked, then hurled Grandma's box to the floor. It splintered, old letters and a locket spilling out. You don't deserve this, she spat. I stared at the wreckage, my grandmother's memory shattered at my feet. Something broke inside me. Not despair, but clarity. I laughed, a raw, jagged sound that stopped them cold. You think I ruined this? I said, tears streaming down my face. You planned a trip with my money, dumped your kids on me, locked Noah in a motel, and I'm the villain? You broke this family, not me. Noah pulled free, running to me, his arms wrapping around my waist. I want to stay with you, he whispered. Chloe lunged, grabbing his arm. You're not taking my nephew, she snarled, but his eyes, pleading, trusting, tore me apart. One day you'll see, I said to him, my voice breaking as they dragged him out. Mom paused at the door, her face stone. If this is how you feel, Lauren, we're done. The door slammed, leaving me in silence, the broken box at my feet. I sank to the floor, clutching Grandma's locket, sobbing for Noah, for me, for the family I'd lost. But through the tears, I felt it freedom, jagged and real. They could hate me, but I wasn't theirs to use anymore. The silence in my Chicago apartment after they left was deafening. Mom's final words, "We're done," hung in the air like smoke, thick and suffocating. Chloe had dragged Noah out, his small hand slipping from mine, his pleading eyes burning into my memory. Megan's parting shot, smashing Grandma's wooden box, left its contents scattered across my hardwood floor. Yellowed letters, a tarnished locket, fragments of a past I'd clung to. I sat there, knees pulled to my chest, clutching that locket, its cool metal grounding me as sobs tore through my throat. 10 years of being their rock. And now I was the outcast, the villain in their story. But as the tears slowed, something shifted. The weight I'd carried, guilt, duty, the need to please, cracked like the box at my feet. I wasn't theirs anymore. For the first time in a decade, I felt free. Not the fleeting freedom of Miami's beaches, but something deeper, rawer, a freedom born from letting go. I wiped my face, picked up the broken pieces of Grandma's keepsake and set them on my coffee table. Not to fix, not yet, just to hold on to. A reminder that family didn't have to mean sacrifice without end. 6 weeks passed, a quiet I hadn't known I needed. My phone, once a lifeline to their endless demands, stayed mostly silent. But they didn't let me go quietly. Mom Diane posted on Facebook, "Some children only think of themselves. Family is about giving, not taking." The comments piled up. Cousins, aunts, old neighbors, all nodding along to her version of the truth. Chloe shared a photo of Lily in a snowsuit, captioned, "Family means sacrifice, not abandonment. So blessed to have real love in my life." Megan went harder, a long rant about toxic people who destroy bonds for their own gain. No tags, but everyone knew it was me. A few months ago, those posts would have gutted me. I'd have spent nights drafting replies, losing sleep over their words, wondering if I was the selfish one. Now, I scrolled past with a faint smile. Predictable. Pathetic, even. I didn't owe them my pain anymore. Instead, I filled my weekends with new rhythms. Joined a book club at a cozy Lincoln Park cafe, where strangers became friends over dog-eared novels. Last week, I booked a spring trip to Paris. Solo, no one's scheduled to check. Just a deal I saw and snatched up. For me, work steadied me too. Harper and Stone kept me busy, but I started leaving the office at 5 p.m. instead of midnight. Jane, my rock through the Noah mess, grinned when she saw me packing up early. "Finally living a little, huh?" she teased. I laughed. A real laugh, not the tight one I'd faked for years. Something like that. But in quiet moments, I thought of the kids. Lily's tears, Noah's trust. I missed them not as pawns in their parents' games, but as the bright spots they'd been before all this. Then came the first crack of light. One gray afternoon, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Lauren, it's Dad. Mom doesn't know I'm writing this." "I'm sorry, kiddo. I should have spoken up. I was wrong to stay quiet." I stared at it, my coffee growing cold on the counter. Robert Mitchell, stoic, silent, Dad. Apologizing, my fingers hovered over the keys, torn between anger and relief. Too late. I wanted to write, "Where were you when they broke me?" But I didn't. I just typed, "Thanks, Dad," and left it there, a fragile thread I wasn't ready to pull. Days later, another surprise landed, literally. Jane showed up at my door, her arms full of files and a grin. "Special delivery," she said, handing me an envelope. Inside was a letter, scrawled in a child's shaky hand. "Lauren, it's Noah. I miss you. Mommy's mad all the time now, but I'm okay. When I'm big, I'll come find you. Promise." A stick figure drawing slipped out, me and him, holding hands under a lopsided sun. I pressed it to my chest, tears spilling hot and fast. Jane squeezed my shoulder. "Kid's tough, like his aunt." I cried for an hour after she left, not from sadness, but from something bigger. Grief, yes, but hope too. Noah's words, his promise, lit a spark I hadn't felt in weeks. Maybe he'd break free one day, see through the mess his mom and the others had made. Maybe Lily would too, and the twins, and Ethan. I couldn't save them now, but I could live, really, live. So they'd know there was a way out when they needed it. The broken box still sat on my table, its jagged edges catching the light. I'd thought about mailing it back, letting Mom have her victory, but I couldn't. It wasn't hers, it was mine, a piece of Grandma's strength I'd inherited without realizing. Family didn't have to be perfect, I told myself, tracing the locket's curve. It just had to be real. And for the first time, I was building one, starting with me. Yesterday, I deleted the family group chat. No announcement, no drama, just a quiet tap, and it was gone. My phone felt lighter, like I'd shed a chain. Some might call it selfish. Chloe and Megan sure would, but I'd learned the difference between selfishness and self-respect. Walking away from people who only valued me for what I could give wasn't betrayal, it was survival. And damn, it felt right. What do you think, folks? Should Lauren forgive Dad, or is his apology too little, too late? And Noah's letter. Will he really find her someday, or is that just a kid's dream? Hit the comments with your take and subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 supporters, and this story's not done teaching us yet.